In a brave act of defiance, at least dozens of women got behind the wheel in Saudi Arabia on Saturday to protest the conservative kingdom's ban on women driving, despite warnings that anyone disturbing public order would be dealt with forcefully. At least 16 Saudi women were arrested and fined around $80. Each woman also had to sign a pledge to respect the kingdom's laws. One video in particular has gone viral, and it features absolutely no women and no driving. Hisham Faqih, Fahad Al-Butairi, and Ala Wardi joined forces to create this video, which has gone viral, and they're joining me now to discuss the controversial ban and the message behind the video.
We don't have a specific political agenda that we're necessarily seeking out. There's absolutely oppression as far as how the West tends to essentialize values or value systems, or even what they deem as oppression or not oppression. I mean, this is a big philosophical and moral debate that has been going on forever. We're honestly, the two of us and the team, we're comedians, and we saw something to make fun of and laugh at, and that sort of happened.
Today we begin in Gaza, where several feet of sewage water is poured into the streets and forced people to watch their every step. As you can see in this video, children have to carefully wade through sewage water on their way to school. Now, Egypt's border with Gaza has been closed for weeks now, leaving thousands of people without any source of income. While many Gazans are struggling because of the fuel crisis, Hamas leaders are apparently not affected by it and still driving their cars around.
The situation right now, it's among candle and some little lights that we have here. I'm just working right now without electricity. I'm just getting my electricity from my neighbors, who's an press office that have a little generator that's working.
The border has been closed for days, if not weeks on end sometimes, and most of the tunnels in Sinai have been destroyed. This is a huge campaign by the Egyptian military, and I don't see it ending anytime soon.
We head to Washington, D.C., where on Tuesday, victims of an alleged drone strike in northern Waziristan, Pakistan, spoke to members of Congress to ask the government to stop killing civilians with drones. Now, one of those who spoke was 9-year-old Nabila Ir-Rahman, who, along with her father, Rafi, and her 13-year-old brother, Zubair, explained to lawmakers what happened on October 24, 2012.
I no longer love blue skies. I prefer gray skies. The drones do not fly when the skies are grey, and for a short period of time, the mental tension and fear eases. But when the sky brightens, the drones return, and so does the fear.
Now, the weaponized drone is said to have been under the direct control of the CIA. The United States has not formally acknowledged the attack, nor taken responsibility, in a complete lack of transparency and accountability.
We are losing the cooperation of an important regional ally because of these drone attacks. The same thing is true in Yemen. The same thing is true in many countries across the Middle East and, in fact, around the world.
Another U.S. drone strike killed 3 people in North Waziristan in Pakistan this Thursday, according to Pakistani intelligence officials.
People were very disappointed with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's recent visit to the United States. The joint statement that was issued by U.S. President Barack Obama and Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had no mention of even the word drone in it.
Faria al-Muslimi, he's a Yemeni activist and journalist who delivered a moving plea before a Senate hearing, has taken to Twitter to share photos of some of the strikes. He also tweeted about civilians that were killed in the strikes. As you can see here, he says 3 civilian locals were injured by U.S. drone strikes. This is just yesterday. They were just hanging around the neighborhood. He goes on to name the injured civilians, who often are never mentioned in U.S. media. Could you explain to us why you wrote this piece and what you mean by that?
I mean, the piece is a part of formal efforts a group of activists and I have been doing the past 2 years of pointing fingers at these very unthoughtful policies being implemented in Yemen, really harming, as we see it on the ground, the Yemeni security, the United States security, and doing a lot of good for Al-Qaeda.
Apparently, listening devices installed by the NSA in U.S. drones are helping the CIA's drones locate their targets. Now, the tracking signals from these devices allow drones to tap into phone conversations on the ground, in addition to guiding the drones as they strike. And as it would turn out, the NSA played a critical role in the drone strike that killed Hassan Ghul, an associate of Osama bin Laden.
What wasn't known is they function as eavesdropping devices as well, and that they can that's where the NSA gets the data that it's using to, in many ways, build these this understanding of what they believe to be networks on the ground.
Now we head to the Central African Republic, where 2 French soldiers were killed in violent clashes with Seleka militia fighters, a predominantly Muslim group. The 2 French soldiers were patrolling an area near Bangi's airport in preparation for a disarmament operation. The Central African Republic has been in turmoil since Seleka rebels ousted President Francois Bozize in March, and the rebels' leader, Michel Jotodia, took over after the coup. Clashes began last week, as we mentioned, after months of hatred and resentment towards Muslims from the Christian majority.
There is absolutely no rule of law here at the moment. Since those 2 French soldiers were killed, we've hardly seen any French patrols at all. They were basically in their barracks. What is happening, particularly in some Muslim parts of the city, mosques are being burnt, and it does seem that there's no protection at all.
Nazanin, I'm looking at your Twitter timeline. There's a photo of Tristan. Your producer is trying to persuade the FOMAC general to allow you in his convoy. You say that you succeeded. From the convoy, you say that you have seen no French patrols. What does that suggest? What was it like being in that convoy?
The hatred that people are showing and feeling, the frenzy of hatred on the streets right now is just palpable, and it is extremely worrying. I spoke to Amnesty International, who are also at that mosque today. They are extremely concerned. They see this as an escalation. They want protection for the most vulnerable people, particularly for hospitals in the city. They went to several hospitals which did not have a single international soldier, peacekeeper there to protect the hospital.